Hi, everyone. Welcome to our monthly Graphic Arts Alliance webinar. I'm really excited to be here with the Propago team. Propago is one of our new vendor alliances, and they have some really fantastic technology they're gonna talk about today, and just ways that you can maximize efficiencies in your operations with technology, and how their platform can also help with that. So I'm going to introduce you to Alex at Propago. He's the VP of Marketing there, and Rick Averill is the owner and founder of Propago. So we're really excited to have these two here with us today. Alex, go ahead and take it away. And if you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. We are going to do questions in the chat initially, and at the end, we will open it up for more formal Q&A session. But initially, just to keep things flowing, we're going to take those questions in the chat box to start off with. So Alex, it is all you. And I'm going to ask everyone to just please mute.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. And thank you for putting this together for us. And thank you everyone on the call for taking the time to from your busy day to learn about who we are and what we do. We are thrilled to be a vendor for GAA, and we really hope we can work with some of you in the near future. Yeah, I am Alex. I'm the VP of Marketing on the call. Like Wendy said, we have Rick, the CEO, who has over 25 years of print industry experience. And because we only have about 45 minutes, is that Wendy, or 30 minutes?
Yep, so about 30 to 40 minutes for a presentation, and then we'll leave some space for Q&A at the end.
Perfect, sounds good. So I'll get right to it. If you haven't heard of us, we are Propago. We are a comprehensive marketing solution management platform. Let me change my slide, I apologize. There we go. Comprehensive solution for marketing asset management, web to print, warehouse management system, specifically designed for commercial printers. It was first developed in 2005 as an internal order fulfillment system for a large network of printers in the US. It wasn't until 2012 the platform went to market under the name Propago as a web to print solution. Since then, Propago has become a leading service provider in the printing industry, now servicing, I think it's about 1,500 portals and close to 500,000 users. And so we've gone pretty far since then. I'll get to the next slide. There we go. We do focus on the B2B space. Our direct clients are going to be printers who we work with to provide their clients with marketing portals specifically configured based on the needs of each client, right? Our platform is a great fit for printers who typically work with large brands, enterprise clients looking to distribute a huge number of marketing assets, including print, promo, apparel, digital, to a large number of employees, franchisees, and whatnot. And what they're looking for is to have a lot of control over what happens in those portals and on those users, right? That said, the B2B space is a little different. We see our clients approach these brands, right? These enterprise clients, totally different, right? These printers are not thinking about the next job and margins the next job. They're thinking about how can I create a long-lasting relationship, right? How can I increase my print order volume, right? How can I go after bigger clients who typically, which I don't have a solution that typically can handle those complex business rules and workflows, right? So typically our clients are thinking, I know what a marketer understands. I know this is going to be sticky. I know this relationship is going to go for, not just a couple of weeks, but maybe for years. These clients or printers are thinking integrations. They thinking data. They thinking brand management, right? So it's a completely different ball game to what we normally call the B2C game, right? Where typically you'll see these printers asking for a portal to sell their own stuff, like a Vistaprint. So we're completely the opposite of that, right? We play in the B2B space where we work with huge brands looking to distribute a lot of stuff to a lot of people with a lot of control over what happens with the brand. Now, this is a quick workflow and model just to make it easy to understand what we do and how we do it. So our clients, the printers, may have one single portal, right? They may have 5, they may have 100 different portals across their clients. So basically how it works is a lot of different users, a lot of different franchisees or whoever it may be, they're going to log into a front end, a Propago front end, and they're going to start placing orders, right? It could be the HR manager, it could be the marketing manager, it could be really anyone, or it could be down to the employee. So all those different orders from all those different clients, from all those different portals are going to roll down to what we call a Propago hub or the Propago backend, where you, the printer, are going to take advantage of a lot of different tools that make you more efficient, that make you more automated, including order management, production workflows, inventory management, high order fulfillment tools, right? You will be able to connect partners and vendors, right? So if you're doing the print and your client is asking you to also bring in promo and apparel, you will be able to connect those partners and vendors to the system and automate everything for your client, or what we call become a marketing supply chain solution provider for those enterprise clients. We also have all kinds of dashboards, analytics, and reporting for you to download and for your clients to access in real time, as well as an API, right? So what you see on your left, talking about the API, on your left, you have different companies or systems that we integrate with. And it would be your typical MIS, ERP, fulfillment systems, e-commerce, mailing, taxation, workflow automation, and even some social media and marketing systems. And if you do not have those systems and you have something homegrown or proprietary, we do have an API you can take advantage of. You can create those custom integrations for you to make you more efficient, to make you more automated, and hopefully, make your operation leaner. At this point, I'll turn it over to Rick. He does a much better job at explaining the core features and benefits of the application. So Rick, over to you.
Perfect. Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for taking some time with us today. As Alex mentioned, so Propago, we focus pretty exclusively on what we call the B2B2C space. So these are your larger clients that have a lot of locations, employees, franchisees, a lot of people that need to connect with their brand. We do not go after the B2C space, so trying to compete with like the Vistaprints and those type organizations or technologies. And fundamentally, we think the technology is just different between those two groups of use cases, where in our space in enterprise marketing portals, your client's going to push down a lot of requirements on who can order what, how often they can order, what they can do to brand materials, how they can edit brand materials, and a lot of business rules come into play. There's three main pillars that you can tie, I'm not going to say an infinite amount of rules, but a lot of different business rules around. So that's protecting your clients' brands, their budgets, and their inventory. So between those three main pillars, there's a lot of different ways to make sure that you're providing an online system for your client that still makes sure that their brand, budget, and inventory stay protected. The portals they're no-code solutions, so this is all cloud-based. There's nothing for you to install locally. We do updates once a week, so we're a very actively developed system. We've been backwards compatible for over 20 years, so something set up 20 years ago still works today. Each portal really is going to look quite differently, and that's really dictated by your client, and that goes into theming as far as the look and feel. So it is a no-code solution, so you don't have to have developers to set things up. You can change colors, you can add banners, you can do custom URLs. All these different things are inherent in the system. We also have a lot of built-on enterprise type connections, so things like single sign-on integrations. So we support SAML or OAuth, which are kind of the two predominant ones out there in the industry right now. We also support CXML workflows, so that's integrating with Ariba's or Coupa's or Oracle's, those kinds of systems as well. So it is these larger clients that typically come in and need a portal for their users to gain access. We want to be that centralized place for your client's entire brand. So print, promo, apparel, digital, it doesn't really matter how they want to market themselves. We want to be that centralized place for the entire brand. That doesn't mean you have to be a promo manufacturer or even a decorator. You do have the ability to configure products to go notify your supply chain partners right when orders come in. They also have access to APIs. They have access to automatic file drop. So a lot of different things kind of come in through the system. Based on the user's credentials and how they're logging in really controls the experience for that user. So an example would be like a franchise organization for a fast food chain where the individual stores might have individual store level assets. And then if I'm logging in as a franchise owner that has 6 different locations, I get to see all 6's assets, and it kind of keeps going up. So there's a lot of different configurations to control those security rights and who gets to see what within the platform. Where we differ a little bit from what we've seen in the kind of the traditional space and the traditional print software providers is, you know, we want to be that inclusive place for the entire brand. So it really doesn't matter how they market themselves. We want to be that centralized place. And that includes modules like digital asset management, where they might just be sharing off product shots for different logos for end users to be able to pull down while they're in here getting their physical assets. Go next slide. We are a template-based personalization engine, so it's not an online designer where users can create brand new artwork. All these templates are crafted based on your client's requirements of what they can do with brands. So you can do things like image banks, image uploads. There's a lot of different controls you can bring into play, so they can do things like calendar controls or radio buttons or conditional variables. So, you know, if they live in Texas, maybe they have to add a disclaimer versus California does not, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's not an online designer. It is a template-based system that certain fields are exposed to be editable, and that's all the users can do. Next one. We are a system that you can live in us from order inception all the way to final shipment. So the system was originated to be a really high volume fulfillment engine to handle hundreds or thousands of orders daily and to make sure they get in and out of your facilities efficiently without much cost. We do integrate with MISs and ERPs. Some clients choose to live completely in Propago, and others might want to feed those other systems, whether they're enterprise or EFI's pace or whatever the system is, but you can live completely in Propago. We have production and procurement workflows. So production does job ticketing with barcodes, and everything can be scanned in throughout the process. Everything in the system's starting to drive demand. So it's going to automatically start forecasting out all of your inventory positions and how many days of stock you have remaining, and kinds of all those forecasts on the marketing supply chain. And a lot of this gets boiled up to the customer's level storefronts. So with their online dashboard and reporting, your customers can be much more involved in their supply chain and understand where their spend is going or where their inventory is going at any given point. And next one. The front end dashboards, we're big on portraying data to your end users. So these have different levels of dashboards depending on who I'm logging in as, but it's going to give the clients a quick interface to see what they're spending, how often, how long orders are staying open, what they're spending by different product types or item types, and really the volume that's pumping through any of these portals. With any of these kinds of portals where a brand is giving X amount of end users the ability to order kind of what they want when they want, the controls and reporting features become more important, so they can really make sure that everybody's kind of staying in line with corporate governance. We also have a standardized reporting engine. With our standardized reports, we have over 100 standard reports built, but each one of those reports can be customized for each client, so they can go build the reports that make sense to them. Maybe they're looking at different fields or different criterion. And once they build those reports, they can save them on their profile, so they don't have to recraft reports each time. There are things like report schedulers. So just every Monday morning, these 12 reports will come sending out to me, and I have all the data at my fingertips at any given point. Go to the next one, Alex. So really, the main concept between the Propago portals is they're more advanced marketing systems for your larger clients. So whether they have really complex business rules, complex brand criterion, security criterion, we can house all that stuff in a singular portal. So what we see a lot of the times in the industry is kind of systems creep, where there's 2 or 3 different systems that are needed to portray these kind of enterprise level portals, where in Propago you can completely live straight within one of the systems and go from there. We do have some benefits for the members that Alex can kind of review. And from there, you know, we're happy to dive into a demo of the platform if we just didn't know if we'd have enough time to show y'all some of the different features and go from there.
Yeah, we'd love to get at least you know, some snapshot of some things, and you know, let's jump into a quick demo, and then I'm sure there's some questions out there as well. So welcome
Okay.
that.
All right. Did the screen flip over?
Yes, we are good.
All right. So as I mentioned, they are all private marketing portals. So they do require username and passwords to gain access. There are self-registration workflows you can put in, as well as SSO integration. So there's a lot of different ways for users to get access into the platform. The platforms are all responsive design. So that just means if they're on a smaller screen size or a mobile device, the system's going to automatically reshape to those screen sizes, and it makes things like buttons larger for fingers at that point and changes menu structures, and a variety of different things happen on those different screens. I logged into and any of you are more than welcome to request access for our demo site. We'll send you a username and password, and you can come in at any point and poke around at your will. I logged in to our demo site as somebody that has kind of just about every feature turned on. So there's a lot of menu items and things like store dollars and redemption dollars, and all these different features are turned on from my account. But the essential kind of look and feel of the system is going to be driven by the Acme company in this case. So they have chosen to turn on things like filters. And as I mentioned, it's a yes or no configuration on these portals. So you don't have to code any of this. It's just answering questions on how you want it to portray. If I don't have filters turned on, naturally the screen's going to eat up the rest of it that it can. You can do things like add buttons, different view availability. So things like list views that show inventory or graphical views. All of this can be controlled in the setup of any given portal. From a products perspective, we hold a lot of information on products. And this is not all required. It really depends on how rich you want the reporting and dashboards to be. But things like item types and manufacturers and vendor SKUs, this can all drop into the supply chain later on, whether through our APIs or integrations with other systems. We are a real-time warehousing system. So all the inventory is real time. As orders are coming in, it's pushing demand, it knows forecasts, so it knows really how much inventory is available. And that even includes if we're integrating with MISs, we'll pull that inventory from that MIS. From a setup as far as packouts or how things are sold, you have a lot of control on whether or not they get one piece or 100 pieces, or they get drop-down lists, all those kinds of flows. From an ordering perspective, you hit add to cart and it goes in your cart. And this is not a slide against printers. I've been a printer for 25 years. We've gone to great strides to make sure that the user experience here is not for a job submission. It's mainly for a shopping experience. And that goes into different configurators when we're getting into promo and apparel that really get more delicate. So for the pins, for example, I have 4 different colors that this portal has chosen. And we're controlling inventory on the first one, so we're not allowing any back orders. Next one's a drop-down list, next one's expired, and the next one I have to order in certain multiples. So a lot of different controls, even within those kinds of configurations you can do. For things like apparel, apparel is kind of a different animal altogether. We have different flows that you can go in here. So this one's set up for, you know, I'm selecting my women's small shirt and I'm ordering a singular shirt for myself. Or it might be more for team ordering or something where you're decorating or embroidering on the fly. So for this one, I look at the men's gray, the first 2 are out of stock. I can get my larger XL. If I look at the whites, I have them all in stock. So it knows even through these configurations that the men's white small is in stock or not. You can do things like aggregate minimums. So if you're waiting for 24 at a time, you can do aggregate minimums across all the sizes and then let them order. So a lot of different controls can come into play. Straight from the top level cards, there's a lot of information that can be projected on here. Things like minimum order amounts, case pack quantities, inventory positions, lead times, expirations, all that stuff is built into the system so it knows how to handle those different things. From a personalization engine, I'm gonna kind of bypass this simple personalization and go into more complex pieces. And this is getting into the system can store an unlimited amount of data against any user or group of users' profiles. So to kind of show an example of this is for a hospital system. And naturally, the system at all points would have the user level details, but for this hospital system, they wanted some additional information on their physicians. So they set up what we call a global form with these 4 different sections of data. So things like experience of medical school and residency and internships. Propago wouldn't have had data fields like that before, but they built it out for this specific hospital system. Then Claudia gets a profile built on top of that. Either she did it herself, it came through the API or SSO feeds, or it got imported. A lot of different ways for that data to come to us. And then Claudia's profile can be shared for specific groups of users or individual users. And where that really manifests is when I'm personalizing a piece like this. I have access to multiple profiles, so I can go bring in Claudia's profile, and it's coming from that singular data source. A lot of the times, some of the financial institutions or insurance institutions, they want to use the profile information to preload all this data for their users, but they don't want their users to be able to adjust it. So things like disclaimers or legal operating disclaimers for Florida or these different things that come into play, they want the user to see it, but they can't change it. So any of these fields can lock out, and it's a centralized place for this client. Anything I've ordered historically is in my digital library. So these are different versions that I've ordered. And one thing to note is we hold the data separately from the background artwork. So if she went to reorder this and the logos changed or the colors change, it's going to regenerate that new artwork every time they come in and reorder. We do support things like kits. So kits are just a different way to portray different products. So if I'm ordering this particular product, it's going to push the 3 order lines for the 3 flyers. So these are not kits that are finished goods sitting on the warehouse floor. These are going to actually be built at the time of order. You can set up dynamic kits, and that's where the client can put some rules around it and say, this first flyer is required. I cannot remove it, but I can change the quantity in the kit. Next flyer, I can't change the quantity, but I can remove it. And any of our kit types can include personalized items or configurable items. And a lot of different things come into there where we see like employee appreciation gifts or new campaign rollouts that have kind of the entire kit already built for them. Offers is really a product type where you open up ordering windows for a couple weeks, the first 2 weeks in November. And during that period, everybody's getting their orders in and they're holding the orders together for fulfillment at one time. With offers, you can do things like Groupon pricing. So if I ordered 99 of these, I get that $68 price point. More importantly, anybody that's ordered during that offer period before me will also get their orders priced down to that new unit price. That bleeds into things like fixed assets. So anything that client might have in stock that allows them to rent it out and it needs to come in and out of your facility. Typically we see it in marketing trade show type items where they can start building a schedule for all these assets, and it handles the return and the scheduling of that asset where it's going in and out. With digital assets is a module you can flip on for your clients, and really it's just a very simplistic interface for your clients to create new asset folders, upload assets in bulk. It's just a drag and drop uploader. And from here, they can upload native artwork, things like EPS files, AI files, Office docs, get really granular on who can do what with those assets. And at the end of the day, the end client can go in there and convert it different file types, upsample or downsample DPI, change height and widths, and get the assets they need. So since we already had all the physical marketing goods, this is when we started adding all the digital as well. We do have connectors for Facebook built out. So if they're posting to Facebook pages, the system can queue and schedule all that stuff, and it's going to present on that individual's Facebook page at any time. And I only got a couple minutes left. Search is extremely critical on the platform. So with the search engines, it's a layer between our databases and the end user. It's human-based search results. So if I type in blue, it's going to look at kits, products, digital assets, and look at how many times blue is referenced and bring back the most relevant base results. So if you have clients with large asset catalogs, search becomes more critical because generally the users don't want to key through a whole bunch of products to find what they're looking for. You can do things like knockout terms. So I don't want to see anything that's easy. It's going to remove that. And then off and running, I have my search ready. Users always see their orders naturally. As they're progressing through the system, they'll be able to see their orders, get their tracking numbers, get any updates on their order lines that's going on. From the approval processes, you can set them up almost any which way. So there's two sides of approvals in our platform. There's what we call the trigger, then the workflow. So just about anything on an order can trigger it to go into an approval workflow. What they're ordering, how often they're ordering, what they're spending, did they overnight it? Did they use a cost center that they didn't have budget for? All these different things can push an order into a workflow. The workflow could simultaneously send to 3 people and require all 3, or it could send to 3 people and just require 1 of the 3. Or it could be set up to bunny hop to 3 people. So wait for the first approval, then go to the second, then go to the third. When an order is pending approval, the approver has full control. They can add or remove things, change proofs, change shipping mechanisms. So they don't have to just flatly deny it. They can tweak the order. Or we have a conversations feature, so I can just say, hey, Bill, go fix this. So it's going to notify Bill to fix his order. And then when he does, I can go in there and approve it. So they don't have to manipulate it either. And that goes into things like dashboards and those different controls we're talking about, where it's from dashboard reporting to inventory management pages to handling things like advanced shipping notices and purchase orders, so you can start projecting when items get back. There's a lot of different ways to give your clients the tools so they can really kind of go and start controlling their supply chain essentially. And that is the nickel tour before the 1:30 cutoff.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Rick. I really appreciate this. And actually, I was hoping maybe, and this is an incredibly robust platform. And if you could, for my benefit and for everyone's benefit here, take kind of like the, simplest, if you're a printer, standing in the printer's, shoes, you're coming at this from the simplest way to market this to a customer versus like the most complex way. If you're a printer, how do you know you need this software, and how do you market this out? Like what are you going to do? How are you going to use this to really grow your business? And what are ways that you can really get more customers coming in and increasing your revenue through and using your software as kind of a platform for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, generally speaking, I don't think this is a system that you can market to get like new jobs in. But what we can do is you can look at your current client base and who they are and try to understand the customer. Do they have a lot of locations? Do they have multiple employees? Do they have these different kind of connection points where currently it's a manual process for them to either onboard, something as simple as business cards? How do they get their business card orders to you? How do their different locations pull inventory back out of you at any point? So you have to think about the businesses that you currently work with. And that's the first step where you can find a lot of success on not only providing a platform to make it a lot stickier for your current clients. So they're not shopping jobs, they're not looking around, they're just going in there and pushing order demand to your digital presses or even your fulfillment work. Then it gets into, more complex solution type sales where you have these, the bigger clients kind of on the hook, and they're going to request potentially an online system for them to order. And that's where, a lot of the special sauce comes into play of having a system that's robust enough to handle your client's needs, right? At the end of the day, all these orders are going to come flowing into you, could automatically drop the hot folders. That's kind of the easy part. The trickier part is having an online system that's powerful enough for your most demanding clients. And each one is a completely different storefront to implement because they're going to have different requirements. But generally speaking, every printer is going to have a Rolodex of, they have 500 clients, there's going to be 20 that are great fits to immediately throw on a marketing portal potentially, depending on kind of work you're doing for them. We also, and this is just our backside, we provide clients with a lot of information, whether there's sales and onboarding presentations, and all this can be white labeled off, different kind of processes for sales to go live, to implementation processes, to just kind of high level support documents that say, you know, this is how dashboards work or digital assets work or whatever the case may be, to help you as a printer sell this stuff. Fundamentally, I came from a print organization. We had about 220 sales reps, and this is a blatant thing, and I'll just throw it out there. Honestly, when we started rolling this out and trying these sales cycles, there was about 20 sales reps that really could wrap their head around this kind of sell, because it's a different sell than selling a print job, right? It's selling an overall solution and an overall experience and a long-term engagement with your clients. And that's kind of the nickel of that.
No, that's really helpful. So I think, you know, when we're talking about making advancements into web platforms, bringing technology into a traditional commercial printing setting, I think that understanding the full utility around the platform and how to sell it, like you said, I mean, you had about
Absolutely.
20 sales folks that actually knew how to sell it and could actually wrap their head around it. And do you offer for your customers, do you offer some sort of training? Do you work with our sales team at all to help them reach out to the current customers? Do you help any of your customers identify maybe a couple of potential opportunities for them through your software, or do you ask them to bring that to you as opportunities? How do you work with customers and they're on the ramp up?
Yeah, so I mean, naturally, we on initial sign up, you have your onboarding and training packages, and we have a variety of different ones depending on how involved you want the Propago team to be. All of our licensing, and we're very transparent on licensing. I send any of you our pricing sheets today if you need to see them. But really, where most of our licensing comes into play is monthly orders. So that's how we graduate to different subscription plans. So these aren't individual jobs. So one order could have 50 line items in it. It doesn't really matter. But we're gearing our success with your own success. So we're very aligned with our clients. I think we still have that IT mentality that we kind of were born out of, where we look to be an extension of your team, and we are really driven to make sure you're successful on the platform, and really it's kind of twofold for us. So first of all, we don't want you to leave us. That's really one of our main goals. We want you to subscribe forever. And secondly, we want you to grow this subscription, right? And the only way we do that is to provide you new tools, new features, new trainings so you can sell it and can keep progressing the system. We also have certain plans that we call enhanced support plans. And really with those, you can treat the Propago team as an extension of your own. And that includes having us demo for your clients. And I mean, you don't tell them it's Propago necessarily, you white label us out, but we can demo for your clients, and we can help you set up things and help you kind of take those consultations on. Because I mean, we're very inclined for our clients to win more business, frankly.
It definitely makes sense. It has to work for everybody. Thank you so much, Rick. I'm going to open it up to questions. If anyone out there, we have a nice group of members that joined in today. Thank you for joining us. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to toss out to the Propago team about the demo, or any utility around this? Any other questions, or the GAA partnership? Okay. Now, certainly, Rick, I know you gave us kind of the shortened tour of the software. If members were interested in doing a deeper tour, that is available, that they could get a more extensive demo from you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to give demos for anybody at any point. Like I said, we'd also give you access to our demo storefront. Sometimes that's kind of like, you know, finding the needle in the haystack. We just give you a login. So it really is more impactful if we can give you some context on different features.
Great. And we got a question here from Paul DeSantis at Ann Rowe. What is the starting tier cost?
$449 a month. And with the GAA membership, you can get free onboarding. So you're looking at $449 a month.
Great, wonderful. Are there any other questions,
Is there a
comments?
mobile device app?
We don't have an app. It is all mobile design. So if they're on a smaller screen size or whatnot, it's just built kind of inherently to handle those small screens. So it's called responsive design. So it's built just to handle different screen sizes.
Can you integrate to multiple sources to one storefront?
So are we talking about like order intake?
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So either if we don't have like we have Shopify and BigCommerce connectors, if we don't have a connector to whatever that system is, we have automatic importers that monitor FTP folders for XML files or CXML or XML or Excel or CSV files. We also have an API set you can hit into, and we're happy to integrate with kind of any other source too.
How deep is your integration to EPS Pace compared to their digital storefront?
So I don't know how DSF ties to Pace completely. I know a little bit about it. Where we're tying into Pace, you have templates and finished goods set up in Pace. So we send print specs from our system. We link it to a template there. We send all the pricing. We can pull inventory. So it's a three-way connection. We're sending jobs into Pace. We get back that job kind of status and tracking information, and then we're pulling inventory from Pace.
Thanks.
That's similar to Pace's integration with DSF. A little bit tighter than that, but that's effective.
Yeah.
What was that?
That's how Pace, we have Pace and DSF currently, and that's how it integrates it. You link to item templates in Pace with DSF, so this would be the same. And then the information we get back is it regularly gets you inventory updates with quantities, and then it also gets you you get the tracking number and print status back. It's shipped like that. But it doesn't integrate well with kits. It doesn't integrate well with partial shipments. That'd be a question, Rick, is like partial shipments. Like let's say you have a shipment and you only ship 3 of the items because 2 of the items are on back order. That does not work well with DSF. It's actually horrible.
Yeah, right now, so that would flip the order. It would show, so each of our orders can have like 6 shipments against or however many shipments. So how we have Pace integrated is it's actually going back down to the line level. So like if we send an order like this to Pace, we're actually going and saying, hey, did you ship this one, this one? So we look to see which job segment, and I got to actually get the vernacular right. But we're looking at all the jobs and saying, okay, these 3 are marked as ship, these 3 are not. So we'll do 1 shipment against the order, and then it remains open for the other ones on our side until Pace finalizes. And we're always working on our integrations. So I mean, you know, for all of us on the call, you know, since EFI has turned into EPS, it's been a little bit easier for us to integrate and talk to some Pace, you know, expertise, technical people. But a lot of times we have to lean on y'all's relationship because, you know, naturally we don't have an account with EPS. But they have a pretty rich API set. It's pretty large. So we can do a lot of stuff with it.
Paul DeSantis again was following up on the starting cost of how many orders are included in that, and then he also said, does tracking come back?
Tracking, absolutely. And I believe our starting plan is 150 orders monthly. And there's no overages, there's no hard stoppages, and there's no automatic upgrades. So like we look at it as a 90-day rolling average. We understand some months you're gonna go high, some months low. And after a 90-day rolling average, if you're averaging 200 orders a month, then it's a conversation with y'all before any kind of automated upgrade.
Okay, and Brian Barman followed up. What's the reporting engine?
It's handspun. We created it ourselves. So essentially, it's communicating directly with our databases. They can add or remove things. It's pretty easy for us to add or remove different elements to it. So we call them, you know, columns. So everything in pink here, and this is just a product report. It's just drag and drop to kind of add it to a report, resort the order. I can group it different ways, throw filters on it, but it's all hand spun.
Eric Shaheen said, looks great. So thanks for that feedback. So did Paul DeSantis. Is there formatting or just XLS or just XLS?
For the reports, it's just XML. You can do a PDF, but it's not a pretty formatted PDF, but it's just Excel generally, aside from things like dashboards or different views.
Great. Excellent. Any other questions? Got some good dialogue going here. Okay. Great. So, I don't know if you have a contact card. Of course, the contact information will be made available to everyone to reach out to the Propago team, and it's in the contract summary, and I'll be sure to get an updated contract summary to everyone. But we do invite all of you, if you do have further questions, to reach out to Rick and Alex. Certainly, they are experts on this software. I know Rick was one of the creators, so they will definitely be able to guide you further in this relationship. Thank you, Alex. Just put the email addresses in the chat box so you can go ahead and swipe those out of the chat. And certainly just keep in mind that Graphic Arts Alliance members do get that free onboarding. So there's the monthly fee, but the onboarding part is included. So that's a good savings for our members, and we're really grateful to Propago to be in the group and offering this wonderful savings to our members. Any other last questions, or Alex and Rick, any other final thoughts for our group here?
Not that I think.
we're good. And thank you, Wendy, for putting this together, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join us. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions, and we'll look forward to connecting with you and working with you.
Great, excellent. Well, thank you both for joining us today. Everyone, this has been recorded to answer your questions, and so it will be up on our YouTube, Graphic Arts Alliance YouTube channel, and I'll be putting that out in the newsletter this week. So Alex, Rick, thank you again for such a great presentation, and we look forward to a long-term relationship with all of you, and members, feel free to reach out if you have questions. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Happy Halloween.
Perfect. Thank y'all.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.